John Bowden from Rock History Music. Sad news. Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac has passed away. It just came through. A whole bunch of people were sending it to me saying, have you heard about this? And I'm in the middle of another project, which I always am, but passed away, died at 79. A member for a heck of a long time of this band. Let me just give you some details. A statement from the Christine family released today says she passed away peacefully at the hospital this morning after, let me just turn off all these things so that I'm not getting interference for all these noises. She passed away following a short illness, November 30th, 2022. She was in the company of family. We kindly ask that you respect the family's privacy at this extremely painful time. And we would like everyone to keep Christine in their hearts and remember the life of this incredible human being. I mean, losing Christine McVie is a huge thing. And I hate to say it, it's the feeling that I had when John Lennon died. You know, beside the tragedy of being one of those fans that wanted a Beatle reunion, I remember my first thought was, well, there'll never be a Beatle reunion. In this case, there won't be a reunion, the reunion we wanted. And the last few interviews that she did give, basically, let me just turn down some of the volumes here. I had to come on here really quickly. The last few interviews that Christine gave, she was sort of insinuating it was the end of the road for her, and trying to take this stuff off here. Oops. It was the last thing. She didn't want to tour anymore. She said her body couldn't take it. Her ex-husband, John Mcvie, the bassist, she said he really couldn't take it either. It was just too much, too arduous for them. And she doubted very much that there would be a Fleetwood Mac reunion. Let me just get to some of the... Cesar Blanco, rest in peace, Whiskey 666. Rest in peace, Whiskey 666. Me damn, we lost a lot lately. Really have, eh? Near the end of the year, it always seems to happen. Julius, I like her singing. Unexpected news. Very unexpected, I have to admit. Brad, wow, Christine was the bomb. Rest in peace, Christine. Lord Tuffingham, big shock. Greg Gilman, holy crap, rest in peace. Gregory Todero added to a unique harmonies. She really did. I mean, you remember the main vocalist in Fleetwood Mac all had very distinctive voices. No one sounded like Lindsey Buckingham. Certainly no one sounded like Stevie Nicks or Christine McVie. And she was the soft one who, you know, sang Songbird and Don't Stop. Hello from the UK, JT Shark. Moose, hello. Tony Walker, so sad to hear. What an amazing musician. Handsome Brute, why this couldn't happen to, okay, I'm not going to mention his name. Alex Knight, Songbird was my favorite. You know, the fact that Eva Cassidy covered that song, and I thought she did an even better version than Christine, but there was a reason for that, of how beautiful that song is. Anthony, YouTube fan, Rock History Music, oh no, well, Fleetwood Mac has officially died. I'm sure everyone in the band is devastated, especially Stevie Nicks. That was her musical sisters. Well said. So sad, at least we have The Dance. The Dance is a great live album. Mike M. Terrible News. Tommy Modesto. Rest in peace. Whiskey 666. YouTube keep crashing. Mine crashed a while ago. But it crashes sometimes when a lot of people are coming on, and which is sort of the case that we're probably dealing with right now. Lord Toffington, she was truly perfect. And a nice person if you see her interviewed. I tried to get an interview with her last year. I didn't get a response. JT Shark, this came out of nowhere. Well said. And let me see if I can turn down the intensity of this light. It's just crazy. That's better. A little more. Her solo stuff is great. I remember when I was getting into radio, we were playing some of her solo stuff, which sounded like Fleetwood Mac stuff. M. Moses, this sucks. Tommy Modesto, her soulful voice will live forever. Well said. JT Shark, she was George Harrison of Mac. She was George Harrison of Mac, the quiet one. Well, that's interesting, eh? Rick Montgomery in total shock. Adam Carey. All the band members seem to like her. That's pretty unusual. Really, especially when you're in Fleetwood Mac. Neutral 69, favorite song from Fleetwood Mac. Irene Brophy, my favorite Fleetwood Mac member. Thomas Collins. I mean, she divorced from John Mcvie, and there wasn't all this brouhaha like, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Tommy Modesto, she was Music Fun, RSP. George Price, she said that she and John and Mick had medical issues, but never mentioned anything really serious. They didn't mention anything specific. But she was saying, I just can't see myself going out on tour again. So that was saying something. Lost in Space, rest in peace, Christine, singing, playing now. The best of them up there. Yeah, Michael Greer, I'm thankful that I saw them in 77, 81, 87, and 94. Shannon and I went to see them in Vancouver, and the concert, we were walking up to the stadium, and the concert was canceled. Day Tripper, so sad. Karen Troop, rest in peace, Miss Mcvie. The Gibbler 84, rest in peace. M. Moses, it's iconic, her song Everywhere. Is Everywhere in rotation? See it in that car commercial? When they're in that car, an SUV, and they all start singing? That says something about a song standing the test of time. If they're using it in the commercial, you might think, well, that's hokey. But it means people respond to it. All these songs, all these actors, all these commercials, they all get tested. And the commercials you see the longest are the commercials that are working for the product. So there you go. Duke Durbin, sad to hear. Maureen 100. Was she sick? Short illness, they're saying. Okay, I'm not going to read your username. We will certainly miss and remember Christine McVie. She was one of the chambers of the heart known as Fleetwood Mac. I had the opportunity to work with members of the band in 1978 through 91. Irene says, not music related, but heard that Clarence, Walker, Texas Ranger also died. You're right. Ron Miller. Her stuff was so great. Richard Franks, one of my favorite female vocalists. Pookie Martinez. Nice to have you on here, Pookie. A Sentimental Lady. Yeah, she was in when Bob Welsh, who had a solo hit with it, but also sang it in Fleetwood Mac. Day Tripper, Songbird is beautiful. Judy Sutton, hello from North Carolina. I saw Christine McVie passing. I am shocked, saddened. Her voice was the Songbird. Yeah. Esta Amit, it's so saddened. Rest in peace. Anthony, YouTube fan. I'll get to more comments in a second. Let me just read what the family's statement basically said. She passed away peacefully at a hospital this morning, Wednesday, November 30th, 2022, following a short illness. She was in the company of her family, and of course they asked for what most families ask for, privacy and respect during this time. She joined in 1970, the band, even though the band started in 67. And she really brought a unique quality to the band and was with the band with people like Danny Kerwin and as mentioned, Bob Welsh, and a lot of those other members, Peter Green in the beginning, they all left us. But of course, we're all at that certain age where that's bound to happen. Let me see what another page is reporting. I made myself smaller there. That's weird. She was born July 12, 1943, and they've already got here on this article her some information, but not really on her death. She was English, of course. She released 3 solo albums, and 8 of her songs, including Don't Stop, Everywhere, Little Lies, appeared on Fleetwood Mac's 1988's Greatest Hits package. She's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, of course. Of course, Fleetwood Mac would be. But I saw her on the Today Show a few years ago, and her voice was having some problems. She didn't quite sound 100%, and that'll happen as you get older, right? But let's look at the White Album that came out in the mid-'70s. For Christine McVie, of course, remember Warm Ways. A lot of jazz stations played Warm Ways, or light AC stations played. It's because Warm Ways literally came in with the wind. It was like that. So that was kind of cool. She also sang Over My Head, which really got a lot of airplay and is on a lot of best ofs for Fleetwood Mac. And then there was Say You Love Me, which she wrote. There's a Canadian named Shirley Eichart who recorded the song around the same time, did not become as big of a hit. And then together, World's Turning, Christine McVie with Lindsey Buckingham, which they did an awful lot, right? And Sugar Daddy. That was on the self-titled album, or as some people call it, the White Album. Some Beatles fans don't like it when you call it the White Album because, well, there's only one White Album. Come on. And then on Rumours, which, we're just about to celebrate, by the way, in 9 days, the release of Hotel California, which is John Lennon's Day, December 8th. So we'll get into that in a second. But let's look at Christine McVie, Lindsey Buckingham, Don't Stop. That song was such an aggressive power song that has stood the test of time. Think about it. Fleetwood Mac's music, all of it, really. Every era of Fleetwood Mac music really has stood the test of time. And then, of course, Songbird, which was the last song on side A, which sometimes people, because of downloading and all that stuff, you forget about sides, but vinyl has come back a little bit. Then You Make Lovin' Fun. I mean, that was her. And Little Quiet Christine brought up some, like, Don't Stop and You Make Lovin' Fun, two of the power songs on Rumours. And then there was Oh Daddy. I'm going to read some of your comments. What a shock. And these things usually come in that way. You're doing your thing. I was doing a thing on Boston tonight. Tune into our other channel. We're going to be doing Barry Goudreau's birthday. Was yesterday. We missed it because I was on the road. But we're going to do a thing and feature Barry, some of Barry Goudreau's interview that I did with him. I did 2. Tell Me Lies, one of my favorite songs, Fleetwood Mac, Neutral 69. Paul Cassare, rest in peace. Tommy Modesto. Many thank yous for taking the time to inform us and your inspiration. Thank you. Richard Francis. From their greatest hits, the song As Long As You Follow, my favorite. That is a great song. Love that song, yeah. Own You're Crazy. I just can't. I'm shaken right now. Have just woken to the news. So incredible. I hate that when you wake to something like that. And a lot of the times, as you can remember, because I report on a lot of this stuff, I'll wake up a lot of times and I'll have 60 messages from people saying, did you know this person died? Oh my God. And it's my job. John Potton, sad to hear. I was just wondering, ignoring my phone. She was a great artist. Steve says, such a lovely lady. She really was pretty, yeah. She had her own kind of hippie look. Tora Porco, her encouragement helped Stevie with her vocals. It's very true. Saw her last on tour with Lindsey Buckingham, yeah, when they were together. Rich Mel, sad to hear. Barry McCready, Mystery to Me is, oh yeah, a masterpiece. Her singing, I'm going to go back to Mystery to Me. And let me go forward first and I'll go back. As far as albums and talking about, of course, and then Tusk came out. And Tusk was an experimental album thanks to Lindsey Buckingham. It was a double album, as you remember. And there was a lot of wild stuff on there. I mean, they kind of went out over and over. Of course, the first song, which was by Christine McVie. And then Christine McVie and Lindsey Buckingham again with Think About Me. I'm just looking over it here. It was all, side 2 was all Buckingham's Nicks, basically. And Christine appears again on side 3 with 2 songs back to back, Brown Eyes, Never Make Me Cry. And the last side, Christine has 2 songs, the first and the last, Honey High and Never Forget. But there's other albums. I mean, they really bounced back. The live album was a success, especially the dance, not the live album that came after Tusk. But I really liked Mirage an awful lot. It was a good album. I remember it was around the time where I was in radio school, and I really enjoyed it. So, Love in Store, such a Christine McVie song, huh? Sounded just like right in her pocket. And then she had, Only Over You, which was on Mirage. Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie back to back again on Hold Me, which was a hit, and Wish You Were Here. And then there was sort of a big comeback for the band with Tango in the Night. Well, some people loved it, some people hated it, but it sold really, really well. And they've just released sort of an outtakes best of concerning that. That's the album where Lindsey Buckingham presented us with the single version of Big Love. But of course, in concert, he would go on and do it just him and his guitar. And watching him play guitar is like, how does he do that? I asked Rick Emmett of Triumph once. I said, is that hard to play? He says, well, it ain't easy. But Christine McVie, Everywhere, the big single from that album. And Mystified, I remember that song. We used to play that. Christine McVie on Little Lies. She shone on this album, Isn't It Midnight, as well. So there you go. I'm going to read some of your comments. The magic of Fleetwood Mac is gone. You are correct. I think it's safe to say they're just not going to do it anymore. Leonard Engvall. Rest in peace. Rich Fichi. This one hurts. It's always like her voice was better than Stevie. Well, her voice was, it's hard to compare because her voice is very different from Stevie's. Each one of the singers in Fleetwood Mac, no matter who they were, they all had different voices, every single one of them. Even before they got together in 75 with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Own Your Crazy. I like that saying. My first ever concert was Fleetwood Mac Behind the Mask. The first album I owned a copy of Tango of the Night. I was beyond words. Fritz says, Songbird, beautiful, covered by Eva Cassidy, as we mentioned. Yep. Avalon Dreaming. There is no Fleetwood Mac without her. Well, there's no Fleetwood Mac anymore. I mean, I hope Mick Fleetwood goes out and does his own stuff. Obviously, Stevie Nicks is, locked and loaded to do her stuff. Bonita B. This is so sad. Christine was so talented. Wine-sipping cowboy. Shocking. Irene Cara last week. And yeah, we just did Irene Cara. And that's a very similar reaction, but the Irene Cara had a prestigious career winning Grammys and winning the Oscar, but this one hits a little harder. Everyone has their different levels of how they care about or are attached to to people in bands or otherwise, but this one was in disbelief. And I'm ready to set up, because I have to put a banner on, I have to put the title, I have to make sure it's monetized because this is a living for us. I have all these things to do while I'm rushing to get on here to talk to you. And I went on there and I'm going, usually I'll have like a person waiting. And then it said 12 people waiting before I pressed the button. And then it said 50 people waiting. And I went, people are hurt by this. This one, it cuts deep for some people. And it's also the way that she presented herself. I always say, you hear me say this every single day. Look, Ultimate Classic Rock's just posting it now. They're a great site. I like them. But it's a question of how she affected people, right? You're not going to get people. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of comments here today. I'll get back to your comments in a second. Or are going to go, oh, I didn't like her. She didn't project that kind of style, which would make people not like her. By the way, we've already gone through a lot of her songs. And we did mention that she died after a short illness. She passed away at the hospital surrounded by her family. Just to reiterate, I know a lot of people are just coming on now. But it's that thing where we know someone, we love them, whether we'll meet them or not, we have a semblance of a relationship with them. Doesn't matter. You all had a semblance of a relationship with Christine McVie. If you're here right now, right, you could relate to her or something. There was something in her words. And maybe if you would have met her, maybe some of you had, I haven't, you would have, known what to say. Or maybe not what to say because you would go, holy God, it's Christine McVie. But I would have thought interviewing her, because I was trying and I was setting myself up going, I could probably get Christine, that I went, this would be an enjoyable interview. She did say in one of her interviews, she wanted to stay home. She just didn't want to go on the road. She didn't like the idea that her body could put up with it. That's what she said. That if her body could keep up with doing that kind of thing. I mean, to be on stage, you might think, oh, well, you're just sitting down playing keyboard. No, you're singing, you're harmonizing, and you're on, right? It's not like you're in your living room twinkling on the piano and singing to yourself. It takes a lot of energy. You know that. You know when you're brushing your hair in your car and you're getting to work. I saw a woman do that this morning when I was dropping my daughter off. And she was all hustling and buffling in her car and ready to go to work. And then right in front of me, she pulled into this dental office and she got herself together, shrugged herself like a cat and went in. She had to be on. So imagine being on a stage And there's a certain age where you don't want to do that anymore. There's a certain age where you've earned your whatever you've earned. At 79 years old, yeah, my in-laws are 80. My mother's 87. My mother, though, she'll never stop. She's the ever-ready bunny. But Avalon Dreaming, Tusk was my favorite. I thought Tusk was very interesting. At the very least, an interesting album. F. Moses, Don't Stop is my favorite song of hers from Rumours. Haircut, sad news, she will be missed. She really, really will. One of those musicians who gave us much that has stood the test of time. Everything in the Fleetwood Mac catalog, even the early blues stuff, is still influencing other musicians. It certainly has stood the test of time. Mark said, Tusk, Tommy Modesto, You Make Love and Fun, all-time classic. If you put on Rumours after this, and you just put on Rumours, and just pay attention to it and not do anything, you'll be tapping your toes within 60 seconds. I mean, it's just that type of album. Rumours is a perfect record. I don't always say, and its birthday's coming up on the 8th, I don't always say Hotel California is a perfect record, but it's pretty damn close. But Rumours, the coherency of, like, it just seems to all work together for whatever reason, a lot more. So, but I can't change my mind on that back and forth because Hotel California has Hotel California on it. David Ryder. Maureen 100. I am sad. I hate endings. Yeah. Another reason I think a lot of people who watch this channel hate endings is because it's our own mortality. I talk to every artist and I mention to them, and some of them think I want a soundbite for when they die, and I really don't. I use them when they die sometimes. And I'll say, well, are you looking at the clock? And you've heard me say this before. Are you paying attention to the clock? Are you touring because you have to? Steve Porcaro says people keep touring because they want to keep their stuff. But at 62, I'm watching the clock. I'm going, how many years do I want to do this? Hustling for stories, going downstairs, doing Today in History, trying to find that one thing, that one fact that will make people click on the someone dying, that does it. But other than that, but all of us are wondering. And whenever someone that we care about dies, there's a part of us that goes, wow, if that person could die, and or I have to watch myself. How many more years do I have? And they did say she died suddenly. We live in a province here in New Brunswick in eastern Canada, where if I had an appendicitis, if I went in there, there's a possibility I would die for not getting, not getting a proper care. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks, Justin E. Is that what it is? Thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. Okay, let's read some. Melody R. Hi, Melody. Nice to have you on here. Sad circumstances, I know. Daryl Pike. Sad news. Another rock legend. Can't believe it. What? Why do you write that? Hold on. Are you commenting on something? Sometimes people put some stuff up in comments, and I don't realize they're commenting on other people's comments that I haven't seen. So, Joe says, growing up in the 70s, Fleetwood Mac was the biggest. Damn right. Maureen 100. They are getting old. Me old. I'm sad. That's exactly what I was trying to say, but you said it the best in just a few words. Rest in peace, Songbird. Karen Dinsmore. I thought she was such a lovely lady. And if you've ever seen her interviewed, indulge yourself in listening to her being interviewed. She really was a beautiful, kind lady who sort of paid attention. you know, joined this band a few years after it started. She joined in 70 and went through like, all the personnel changes that Fleetwood Mac went to before they found in 75. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks before that. There's a lot of stuff going on at that point. She stuck in there, played with Danny Kirwan, like Bob Welch. There was a lot going on. Loretta Lynn too. Yes, Kaleo. Maureen's 100. Kaleo, yes. Ian Southward, a complete and utter shock. It was for me too, Ian. Calvin Beeler. Rest in peace, Christine Mcvie. God bless you and thank you so much for sharing your music. Kay, we lost another great singer. I'm so brokenhearted. Oh my God, why is people putting dating stuff on here? Like, really? Putting dating stuff on right now? I love Tusk. Jim says, I am broken. Able-bodied. She was afraid of flying. She had a few phobias, I know that. Afraid of flying is a common one, like afraid of speaking in front of audience, which obviously that one Christine did not have. Blaze Eisner, oh, Brother John, what a beautiful lady. I remember her from the Bob Welch days, yep. Everywhere was the bomb. Rest in peace. Yeah, that's too bad. Steve Picaro, Toto rules. Okay, off topic, but okay. Brendel Stills. So sad to hear. I adored her greatly. I mean, who could sing that way? Who could sing in that lane? You could try to sing in that way and sound pretentious. There's a broadcaster that I interviewed a few years ago, and he took it the right way. I says, some people could possibly think you're pretentious the way you announce, but you completely pull it off. And he got it. I thought he was going to go, whoa, what? But singing like that, that's what Eva Cassidy showed us, the late, great Eva Cassidy singing Songbird, that singing it with that intensity and softness at the same time doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be pulled off. It could be one of those Mariah Carey, kooky stuff where it goes on forever. Ellen DeBoard, she's sad. Bruins rules. From Irene Cara, now Christine Mcvie. Who will be a third? Well, I don't really believe in that, but the people who do, they notice it, right? Swisted Chef, oh my God. On your crazy. Are you okay, John? I'm tired, very, very tired, because I was working on this Boston thing we're going to do because it was Barry Goudreau's birthday yesterday. And I was knee-deep in interviews all day yesterday. And I can say, well, it's his birthday week, right? So we're preparing Barry Goudreau of Boston, and we're going to do, so yes, I'm very tired. But there's nothing in the world that would stop me from reporting this. Sherry, her voice was angelic, well put. And she was the glue of so many of the songs. She was indeed, well said. Wall Smarts, rest in peace, Christine, saw Fleetwood Mac in concert twice. Bob Welch and Lindsey Buckingham eras. DB, rest in peace, Christine. M. Moses, true, John Myler. Mike Murray, we will miss her great songs and voice. Oh yeah, Chicken's Shack, back in the days, early band. I remember thinking that the message that she gave concerning Fleetwood Mac not coming back with almost certainty, but not completely, I remember thinking it's over. I don't think it's going to happen anymore. And that's okay, but I was pretty sure I'm going, oh, this is over. Reuben Kincaid, if she's never done anything but Songbird, she'd still be a legend. Hey, well said. Really well said. JT Shark, if you believe in three, she makes three. Wilco Johnson was the first. Well, it depends upon, because millions of people die every day. So, sweet thing. She was a class of her group. Ruda Ruda, so very talented. Sad news. Lynn Hatton, very talented lady, great harmonies. Love the image of her wearing a bandana. Oh yeah, on the rumors. Rest in peace, Christine. Ruben Kincaid. Oh, he says, I'm glad she pulled off the last tour. Yes, she was in Chicken Shack. Jesse Fillmore, living to be 79 and getting to play one of the biggest bands during the wild days of the 70s. Life well lived. Yeah, she lived through an awful lot. I talked to an artist yesterday. I'm not going to tell you who it is because it was off the record, who had just gone through an awful lot with his band. And he was just really, really tired. And he was as tired as I am today. But having talked to him, going, it's, and being a Fleetwood Mac, all the stuff that's going on in, or did happen in Toto, in the Eagles, and lately with Journey, this is hard stuff to be in a band with someone. Why? Because they're really popular. Why? Because there's a lot of money at stake. And they've been together for a long time, these bands, right? John Toomey, I remember the Rumours album front cover and back. Yes. That was a nice package. It's almost like they took the idea from the self-titled album, the White Album from 75, and added to it and said, let's do that, but add more intensity to it. Tom Latinite, another day that the music died. Paulo, I wish it was Little Lies. Yeah, it's true, eh? John Toomey, Songbird is Christine's song. It really is. Yeah. I mean, you can hear a pin drop when she plays that song. That says something, huh? John, everyone, did you know that Christine Mcvie did artwork for Bare Trees? I didn't know that. I did not. Brian Silva, Everywhere, was one of my favorites. Space Cat 72, another heartbreak. Rick Top 40 Hub. Thankfully, I saw them all together in 2015. They were going to be together when we saw them. The classic Fleetwood Mac Rumours lineup, but they canceled the show as we were walking to the stadium. There you go. So I'm going to go back. Let me go back and see some albums here. I see that. I know that the old rockers, they look at Fleetwood Mac and consider the Peter Green Fleetwood Mac the Fleetwood Mac. There it is, Kiln House. She was in the background vocals on that one. And when you look at the writers from Kiln House, Jeremy Spencer, Danny Kerwin, John Mcvie, Big Joe Turner, Mick Fleetwood. And then 1 year later, you go to Future Games, and it's a more solidified band in some ways. Christine Mcvie sang Morning Rain, wrote it and sang it. She co-wrote Morning Rain, What a Shame, rather, which is an instrumental. Basically, the whole band wrote it. She sang on Show Me Smile. But after a while, you started seeing her sort of finding her place a little bit. And those older albums, by the way, after Peter Green, if you like the blues of Peter Green, those old, and some of the other albums, like blues as well, but are really great records to have. Now we're on to Bare Trees, which a whole bunch of people have already mentioned with Christine Mcvie. And she sang lead along with Bob Welch and Danny Kerwin on Homeward Bound. Oh, I remember that. And lead on Spare Me a Little of Your Love. There was always, a lot of the times there were three singers in Fleetwood Mac. And of course on Penguin, remember they had a penguin mascot. She sang lead on, oh yeah, this is a comp. Remember Me, Dissatisfied, and with Bob Weston, Did You Ever Love Me? I found the band got really good with Mystery to Me. Mystery to Me, a friend of mine had it. I remember having a reaction about as strong as the Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks album in 75. And this was only 3 years or 2 years before. So I like that one. She sang a whole bunch on this record. Believe Me, Just Crazy Love, Keep On Going, The Way I Feel, and Why. This is all heading towards having, and then 2 albums later, Lindsey Buckingham and Christine Mcvie. Okay, I got a lot of comments. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. My heart is broken, my high-flying songbird. Nandia. David says, Mick wants Songbird play it at his funeral. Hope stations around the country play it. Lori. She's a little praying. John Toomey. Oh. Swisted Chef, another singer that cannot be recreated in today. Yeah, true. Cutting the Cord. She wrote Don't Stop. I didn't know that. Bruins Rules. Used to love her solo. Got a Hold on Me. We used to play it at 96 K-Light where I worked. Mr. Wilson. My favorite song by her, singing lead, is Isn't It Midnight? Jesse Fillmore. Rumors is a great audiophile record. I love playing it. Reuben Kincaid. Yeah, Don't Stop. Crazy Love. John Toomey. This is sudden. I just found out 15 minutes ago. It's about how long we found out. Okay, hold on. Rudy, no barking. Bugger. She was wonderful. God bless Christine Mcvie, Paulo said. Main man, rest in peace. Thank you for all your comments. I'm a kind of a new age guy, have been for a lot of years. And I think that there's good reason to go to a funeral. I think there's good reason to wish someone well. And it can't hurt. Oh, thank you, Super Chat, for, is it just dining? Christine, brought me much joy and life-changing bliss. Okay, stop barking. Bugger. Thank you, I appreciate that. My dog has separation anxiety. TBB, You Make Love Fun. William Arnold. My favorite song of hers, Sky's the Limit. Altier Wolf Hulk. I don't know how to say that. I'm really sorry. Great songwriter with beautiful voice. Rumors. Tango in the Night. A lot of people have been talking about Tango in the Night in the last few years, especially. It was a powerhouse album, had a lot of singles, and did what it was supposed to do, right? Kind of brought the band on a... Songbird Fly High, says Teddy Bates. Well said. Reuben Kincaid, funerals are horrible. They are for other ways to honor someone's past. I think funerals are a way for some people. I might say something about me, but I feel more in my elements, believe it or not, at a funeral other than the wedding. I don't like weddings. There's just too much fake stuff going on. You might say the same thing happens at a funeral, but I don't know. I find that people have real emotions usually on a funeral. I don't like going to funerals either, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, more comments. Hold on. Let me just sit back here a little bit. Sit back and relax during a sad day. There we go. Okay. Thank you. John Toomey, don't stop and say that you love me. Yes, sir, I prefer weddings. I don't know why weddings are, I have a problem with weddings because I just know that half the weddings that I go to ain't gonna end well. Melody says I hate funerals. Well, obviously I don't like going to funerals, but I'm going if I have to go to a funeral. I just find people are more honest. Or are they? She walked into the room and lit it up. I watch too many crime shows where they say stuff like that. Seems like everyone who gets murdered walked into a room at one point and lit up that room. You don't need lights. Jody's coming. She'll light up the room. Ruben Kincaid, she was in Fleetwood Mac since 71. That's a long time. Patrick Magunan. What was her solo album called? I thought it was just called, I think that first one was just called, let's find out. I'm having to stare at my own picture here. Christine Perfect was her first one. That was a long time ago in 1970. Yeah, the one in 84, the big one, with the piano on the cover was called Christine Mcvie. And it had the singles Love Will Show Us How and Got a Hold on Me. It did well. I mean, Christine McVie solo albums don't sell like a Stevie Nicks solo album, but people loved her. And there was a calming feeling towards her. You know, and I think that's why maybe I like funerals more. I always find a calming feeling at funerals. People are, I don't know what it is. Do I go to more funerals than weddings? Absolutely not. Paulo. Remember McVie Buckingham LP. That was a great album. I bought it. Darla, I always thought that Christine gone too soon. Her songs will always be with us. That's the thing. And it's a cliche thing to say that, but cliches are right. The fact that these songs, and there's a fairly heavy body of work from Fleetwood Mac more so than the Eagles, because the Eagles only released a few albums. What? The debut album, right? On the Border a few years later, then Desperado, that's what I was thinking of. And then On the Border, yeah, and One of These Nights, Hotel California, The Long Run, Long Road Out of Eden. That's it. And When Hell Freezes Over, which was kind of a live album, with a few new songs. But Fleetwood Mac with Christine McVie goes way back. I mean, that's quite a body of work. I know that you're all really, really shocked, and I can understand that, because remember what I say? I say in every video, reputation is someone else's business. Christine McVie could have talked till she's blue in the mouth to tell you who she was, but she didn't do that. Her music taught you who she was. Her lyrics did. The way she sang them, the way she presented herself to the fans, the way she presented herself on stage. All those things are the reason there's like 500 people on here right now, you know, in shock and sad, some more than others, that we lost this great singer. Because to her, her reputation, according to you, is that she was a cool, respectable woman. I mean, really. Remember, I always say, what do you think of when Chris Rock walks into a room? The majority of people are going to think that's the guy who hit Rihanna. That's a sad state of things, maybe, because he has a chance. Everyone has a chance to reinvent themselves. But words are cheap. Women used to say in the old days, if you want to see what a man's made of, don't listen to what he says, watch his feet. When we make our minds up about celebrities, we're basically watching their feet. We're watching what they've come up with. And the songs Christine McVie wrote were beautiful. Even the ones about a little angst were just really well done. She seemed to be the adult in Fleetwood Mac. Think about that. Patrick Simmons seemed to be the adult in the Doobie Brothers. You know, a guy who kind of kept the band together when they went from Tom Johnson to Michael McDonald, and now he's still there with Tom, and they're still good friends. But there's always going to be a person in a band that's more of an adult person who doesn't get eaten away or affected in any way by the drama, and just keeps it together. And there's a reason why Stevie Nicks is really close to Christine. I think Christine was a real solid person. So reputation is a lot of reason why not only what they've given us, but the aura. We make our mind about who people are, and I think Christine McVie sent that out. Did I say Chris Rock? I meant Chris Brown. Sorry. I'm really, really tired. I had a long day. Just looking at your comments. Yeah, David Ryder, she was sort of a mother figure in that way. And that hurts. I was just talking yesterday to Trev Lukather, who's Steve Lukather's son. And I told him, I said, I got an interview coming up where there's a gentleman who says something about a certain rock. It'll come up in the next few days, or maybe even today. He says, this is the greatest, nicest rock star that I ever met. And this is why he did this. And I was telling this person yesterday that I bet you that'll get 1,000 hits. But if the title was, this is the dirtiest, no good, doggone it, asshole that I've ever worked with, it would get 100,000 hits. But that's human nature. But in this case today, we're celebrating someone who, didn't backstab anybody, tried to keep things together, played in a band with her ex-husband, John. Not everyone has to be friends with their exes, but they were close. She represented John when she was talking about her possibly not coming back to Fleetwood Mac. She was able to say, well, John, I don't think can do it either. He just wants to fool around. And obviously, he felt comfortable having Christine talk for him. So there you go. I'll read a few more comments, and I'll let you go listen to some Fleetwood Mac music. She was amazing. From South Jersey, Matt. Kim Trickle. Hey, Kim. Rest in peace, Christine McVie. Chris Barlow. Christine's songs and performances on Tusk were vastly underrated. Agreed. Everyone paid attention to Lindsay's Far Out stuff and a lot of Stevie Nicks' melancholy stuff on that album. John Hanson. Saw them back in the 60s and with the band Chicken Shack. Followed her. Sad news, Texas. What type of cancer? And you haven't said anything yet. Rest in peace, Christine. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, folks. I hate going off a stream when there's 530 people on here. But if you have any questions, why don't you tell me before I go, what are your favorite songs by her? And if you're not one of those good people who can't pick out, oh, did she sing this one? Just tell me your favorite Fleetwood Mac song. There are those moments in time that we all have with bands. Fleetwood Mac probably did that to a lot of people, where you stop when you first heard the song and you go, what is that? Don't Stop did that to me. What a lady, Kimberly says. Amy Lou says no. Everywhere. Ruda, thank you. Fred C. Drummer. Rumours was a huge album in my day in the 70s when it came out. Own Your Crazy says, what a legend. Kim Cornwall, rest in peace, Christine. Love Fleetwood Mac so much. Ginger says, Christine was utterly brilliant musician. Inspiration, Songbird will be missed. See, Songbird wasn't a hit in North America. And everyone remembers that song. Not only because even Cassidy did it, but it just, oh my God, like cerebral, went through your body. Mark Burchett, Silver Springs for me. You Make Love and Fun. Batted Face. Songbird, Anthony. Terry Hodges, You Make Love and Fun. Wish You Were Here. Amy Lou, Little Lies. That's come up a lot, by the way. Lori Baldazzi. Hey, Lori. Nice to hear that you're back on radio. The tone of her voice is an inflection of the wording. Yes. Michelle Harris, Songbird. So far, that's the biggest one. Chloe Louise. Just her voice and the way she looked and she carried herself. That says something, doesn't it? Anthony David Ladder, Songbird. Kimberly, Little Lies. Billy, Little Lies. M. Moses, Tell Me Lies. Dean Beard, Everywhere. is on a TV commercial right now. Yeah, for that song, for that SUV. Kimberly Phillips, Songbird. Oscar Toledo, As Long As You Follow. That's a great song. Jerry S., Oh Daddy. South Jersey Matt, You Make Love and Fun So Good. It still sounds good. When you play that, you play it loud. Songbird, Anthony David Ladder. Boris, She Lived in a Town in Wickhambro. I'm probably butchering that. John Toomey, Max Dilljammer. Hellboy, Bare Trees, favorite Fleetwood Mac song. Just Say You Love Me, yeah. Bill Reinhard, Don't Stop. Homeward Bound, Beth. Dean, Songbird. Salvador, Why? Mystery to Me. Little Lies, Ollie. Game Boy, Tell Me Lies. Kimberly Phillips, Hold Me. Glenn Finston, Over My Head. I love that song from the White Album. Willen E. said, Kiln House, Bare Trees, Mystery to Me were my favorite albums. They were great albums. Ollie Jones, There Are Just So Many. And well said. James Decker, Show Me a Smile. Roger R. Eagles, 7 albums. Fleetwood Mac, 18. Yeah. Thank you for doing that. Michael Sagemaster, Songbird. Own You're Crazy, or Later from Time. Wow, you guys are like, that's a lot. Anyway, to reiterate, because I know a lot of you just came on, she she died quickly, short disease. Not gonna that could mean anything, but she was surrounded by her family. It happened today, and the family asked, as all families do, keep thinking about Christine today, play her music, respect our privacy. Everyone says that, and that's an appropriate thing to say. And we don't have any other details right now. They'll probably have a service. Probably, I don't know how public it'll be. But this is someone who was in one of the greatest bands of all time. Do you remember when Brad Delp passed away? He took his own life from Boston. I remember the rock community just went crazy. It was total shock. I mean, especially the fact that, he did take his life. No one expected it. Neil Peart, same thing when it happened. No one had said he was sick. There was that complete shock. And then this is one of those as well. Because I like Fleetwood Mac as much as I like the Eagles. I kept going back and forth with, like I said, Rumours and Hotel California. But love them both. So having said that, and thank you, it's nice to have 448 people on here. But that's kind of all we know so far. She was one of the head songwriters in the band, played keyboards, was married to John Mcvie, joined the band in 71, and added a really nice piece to the band, and was consistent with what she added to the band. If nothing else, she would have improved as a songwriter, but they all do, right? So Mark Burchett said, oh man, this one hit me. And James says, the best singer in Fleetwood Mac. That's really hard, but the last batch of the original Rumours lineup certainly had 3 very, very distinct singers. And it is what it is, and I thank everyone for coming on. If you ever want to support the channel, there are the 2 P's on the top of our description, Patreon, or you can early access to our videos, or you can make a PayPal donation. But take good care of yourself. I always appreciate you coming on. It means an awful lot to us. Like our videos. You're not liking the fact that poor Christine died, but you're liking the fact that we reported on it. So take good care of yourself. None of us are getting younger, okay? I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music.